There is a secret to get things happening in a way that perhaps you haven't reached until now. This is a secret for everything. It is about having doses of light until the situation shifts. This comes from the fact that when something doesn't work in your life, it's because it needs more light. Because this is the real power. And this applies to us. We have to increase our light to get things moving in ourselves and increasing our consciousness. This is the highest personal development. So doses of light until something shifts and becomes better. And in this way you increase your light and you increase the light of the situation to get things moving into a new level of reality. And everything is moving in a different way because light is unblocking everything. Light is the medicine, is the power that moves everything in the right direction of perfection, the divine state. And this comes back when you switch on and activate your light and you put your light into everything in your life and everyone. When you increase your light and the light of everything, it moves back to a state of divine consciousness, which is the state of God, where perfection and prosperity is manifesting in a spontaneous way. We have moved away from that state a long time ago, and humanity is trying to function without that, but it doesn't work. We have to go back to this connection, a real connection with the light. I tell people all over the world in my conferences, interviews, and workshops for the last 30 years that this is the moment to return to the light. We're not finding the final solution to everything away from the light. When everything or something doesn't work, and when something doesn't really work, we find a fix which becomes part of the situation, but it's not a real solution to what is going on because we have to keep fixing things to get them going, but it's not the final fix. And this is key to understand the power of the light. So it's essential to spend more time connecting in your day, meditating, because most people don't spend much time connecting with the spiritual plane or the visual power the light is shining. Because most people in humanity for a long time just function with the physical. When something doesn't work, they look for the physical or the mental solution. And this is not really the way to go because the solution to everything is a higher level of consciousness from where the problem is. This is what really solves the situation because the resources that really change everything are in a higher level of consciousness than the one the problem is manifesting. The solution to a problem, a situation, something that is happening inside you, that is happening, the problem in a level of consciousness is not going to be in the same level because that is the level of consciousness of the problem. Solution is found in a higher level of reality where there is more information and a higher level of information, more love, more light, more consciousness. Because when you want to change something, you need to introduce a higher level of information and a higher level of energy to get things happening. This is what shifts everything. And when you put light into a situation, what you're doing is putting that new level of consciousness, energy, and information because light is information and energy. That is the importance of having a connection with the reality of 5D in everything. And the new level of light, the new level of power can come into the 3D reality. So the more light you introduce, the more you shift who you are, and the more you shift really your reality and get everything prospering. Because when something doesn't work, is that it's not in the situation of prosperity, it's not in a state of prosperity. So the light restores that situation of prosperity in a divine way. This is divine prosperity. It's the prosperity of the light. which is one of the workshops that I'm teaching all over the world. And it's amazing to see the dynamics of that different to the prosperity of the 3D world and the mechanisms of the 3D and the physical reality and the mind. This is infinite power. We're talking about removing all the limits when we introduce a higher level of light. This is what I did in my life many years ago. I increased my level of light through a connection that I accessed, and then my life shifted. I went from a level of karma to almost zero karma because of the high vibration of that light was acting in my life. I will tell you this in the next video how it all happened. But this connection is available. I'm giving to people for 30 years now. There are millions of people that have heard the messages and thousands of people that have received this connection, and they've moved to almost zero karma, and their lives have been expanding and prospering in ways that they couldn't do with the things they used before. Um, if you want a supernatural life and supernatural reality and a real connection, you have to access supernatural connection, and that is available. It's not just connecting with something with a little meditation or some level of energy. It's about supernatural connection. It's a serious thing. It's really going for the huge, infinite, total power that is available. I'll leave the information here if you want to know more about it. But just remember that and practice that every day. Sustain the consciousness that you are light, that everything around you is light because it is. It just doesn't look like it to the eyes or to the physical senses, but everything is light. It's just that in the material way, it has become so dense that the world has been created from a very dense state of that light and then appears as material, dense, and physical. But it's still light. It's just understanding that it comes from the big light, the universal light, which is a high frequency of love, which can affect and bless everything. Then you move from limitations to grace, from limits to blessings, and everything prospers in a new way. Remember that, and when you enter into meditation, and if you don't meditate, just try to focus for a few moments in silence every day and connect with the light inside. Because when you start shining, everything happens. And I tell people all over the world for a long time now that everything happens when you start shining, when you switch on your light. So this is the real issue that you need to remember if you want to really shift your life. Remember, you've come here to shine, and everything is in your favor. Hope to see you very soon in the quantum side of life. Aloha.